All right, Ken, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very busy day here in the Nightly Sports Call Arena. We have so much going on, and we certainly want to hear your opinions about a lot of these topics today. It's 412-575-2600. That's the number of the Bordas and Bordas hotline. Of course, everyone's still praying and very much concerned for Ryan Shazier, who remains in Cincinnati, and based on a statement issued late today, it looks like he might still be there for a while, maybe a day or two, as they continue to treat his condition, a spinal condition. A lot of times in those cases, you have to wait for the swelling to subside, and hopefully there will be more positive news tomorrow. But in the meantime, they wait. He'll stay there and then return to Pittsburgh at some point. The bottom line, as we welcome in Ron Cook of the Post-Gazette 937 The Fan, is it doesn't matter to me when. It's just hopefully he'll be able to walk again. He'll be able to function again. If he plays again, that's
Correct.
a bonus the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a long life ahead of him. You want him to be able to walk and be with his kids and do all that kind of stuff. I was in the locker room after the game last night. The players weren't despondent. I think they were told that he had a chance to there was some encouraging news. Today there was a report from NFL Network that he was starting to get feeling back in his legs, which I guess is typical for this type of injury. It takes 24, 48 hours, which the first day or two after the injury is a key. I would hope tomorrow we get some really good news on his front. You know, forget about the football, just being able to live a normal life at this point. I think everybody would be pleased with that. Absolutely true. And he did issue a tweet tonight, which is encouraging, and he thanked everyone for their support. And certainly so many people, not just in the Pittsburgh community, not just in football, all around the sports world were tweeting their reaction and hopes that Ryan Shazier will be able to be back. Well, I thought it was really cool. The Ravens were like one of the first people to tweet it. All the teams. Penguins. You know, Andrew McCutcheon sent some out, D'Angelo Williams, Bryce Harper, LeGarrette Blount. I mean, all kind of people came, you know, just his support. And I think, you know, players, they're in a fraternity. They're in a unique fraternity to be able to do what they do. And I think all football players especially realize it can happen to any one player at any play in a game. And we talked to Ben on our radio show today, and he goes, you know, people thought I was crazy last year when I said, you got to think about your life after football. And I really do think he considers that. When you see an injury like that, Ramon Foster apparently told the Fan Morning Show today that first time in his life he was ever scared to play football yesterday. And that's perfectly natural. And you're right, when Ben Roethlisberger and anyone else, and he got hit hard last night a couple of times too, so that was a really violent game. And we saw the residual effect of it today because the NFL wasted no time in issuing 2 suspensions, although I have a problem with one of them. You know, JuJu Smith-Schuster, I thought that was a block. It was, you know, in the middle of a play, and yes, he made contact with Burfict's chin. And what did him in was standing over him that way, and I don't think he ever really intended to do that until he realized when 55's on the ground, and then who knows what flooded into his head. But he gets a 1-game suspension. The one I didn't understand was George Aloki, Ron. He got 1 game, and when you put this into context, I mean, that was a vicious helmet-to-helmet on Antonio Brown. But Rob Gronkowski, who I thought was even more deliberate and reckless and intent to injure, he only got 1 game for what he did. That doesn't make any sense to me how all these 3 add up. No, you know, the problem I have is with Gronkowski. I mean, because it was after the fact. It wasn't a football play. It was deliberate. I thought he should have got more than 1. I'm okay with JuJu getting 1. I'm okay with Aloki getting 1. I thought Aloki's hit was horrible. Worse, I thought, than Burfict on Antonio in the playoffs a couple years ago. JuJu's hit was borderline. The taunting stuff afterwards was not a good look. Tomlin condemned him for it. Ben condemned him for it. JuJu apologized for it. And I think because the league might have been embarrassed last night with the way that game went, and they were going to try to make a statement with a couple of suspensions here. I have no problem with JuJu getting 1 game. I really don't. Certainly Aloki deserved 1, but the bottom line is Gronkowski deserved more than what he got. I totally agree. To me, that was seconds after the fact. The guy was in a prone position, laying on the ground, out of bounds, and he came in with that forearm. We have this tweet from Golden Rue, and you can tweet us at KDPomp, at RonCookPG. He says, NFL says the game was disgusting, bad for the NFL, but guess they like putting these games on prime time all the time. Yeah, they do. They do, and this is one of the issues.
But we'll talk more about it with you. Call us at 412-575-2600. Also tonight, the Rangers in town, and they ended the Penguins' 4-game win streak. Penguins had leads of 1-0, 2-1, but the Rangers got a couple late. Zuccarello got one and put them up 3-2. The Penguins tied it with Hornquist, his 11th. Boy, is he playing well. And then it was Busnetchev who got the game winner. And it was, Chris Letang has not been having some great moments this year, Ron, and there was another one in that game. But, the bottom line is the Rangers are playing better, although they didn't have Lundqvist tonight, and they did not have their top point producer, but they came away with 2 regulation points.
Yeah, I thought this was Jari's first kind of questionable game. The Zuccarello goal that made it 3-2 was a bad goal. It just kind of leaked through Jari. The last one was a bad bounce. It looked like it went in off of Letang. I think the Penguins hit 2 or 3 posts. I think Malkin hit 2 himself, including 1 late in the game. The Penguins outshot them badly. I don't think they played a bad game by any stretch. Sometimes it goes the other team's way. But I thought this was the first time Jari had to deal with some adversity. We'll see how he bounces back from it.
Also tonight, Pitt played at home against Mount St. Mary's. The smallest crowd in the history of Peterson Event Center, 2,333 were there, and they saw Pitt blow a 15-point lead, only to come back and win in overtime, 82-78. We have a lot to talk about. Call us right now, 412-575-2600. We invite your opinions right here, right now on Pittsburgh CW.